How's it going? July 4th, 2024. Happy Independence Day. Thomas Jefferson. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Inspiring words. Thomas Jefferson. How about that guy? This video is looking at this book I wrote, Baseball's Comprehensive Look at Ty Cobb's Stats, his box scores, 1905, 1928. This video, 1907 season. He's 20 years old, his third year in the league, and he plays 150 games. And guess what happens when you play this guy every day for the season? He bats .350, gets 212 hits, gets 605 at bats, scores 99 runs, 119 RBIs, 5 homers, 14 triples, 28 doubles, 165 singles. Slap hitter, bunt singles, infield singles, line drive singles. 468 on slugging, 380 on base, 24 walks, 283 total bases, and 53 stolen bases. He's 20 years old. What a year. 350. 212 hits in his third year. That's 150 games. He has a hitting streak of 22 games. Multi-hit games for this season, 65 of them. Multi-hit, 2 or more hits. 41 2-hit games, 10 3-hit games, 7 4-hit games. He has 2 runs scored 24 times, 3 runs scored twice, 4 runs scored once. He has 19 2 RBI games, 10 3 RBI games, 1 4 RBI game, and he has 2 5 RBI games. 1907, Ty Cobb is here. And he wins the batting title, right? Let's see. Yep, first batting title. 1907, 20 years old. How many 20-year-olds have had a season like this? I don't know. Also, I pointed out in my last video, 1906 season, that this was Ty Cobb's first 300 batting season. And he goes on for the next 23 years, batting over 300, never below it. Now, his first season, he batted .238. Man, if he had batted 300 that season, he would have a perfect record of 300 or more 24 consecutive years. Instead, he went 23 years in a row. And I asked the question, is there a ball player in the history of Major League Baseball, starting from 1871 until the present, that batted 300 every year in his career on his resume? I could not find anyone that did it over a long period of time, but I did find someone who did it over a short period of time. And what I did was I went to career batting average leaders, career batting average. You go to Baseball Reference, and I went down the list. You had a lot of guys with 300 or better career batting average. In fact, let's see, if you scroll down the whole list, it turns out that there are over 250 guys with a career batting average of 300 or better, including the Negro Leagues. So even among the Negro League players, I could not find a guy who went 300 his entire career. But I did find one guy. His name is Dave Orr, that batted 300 every season of his career. But a caveat, he only played 8 years. Dave Orr. Have you heard of him? He played from 1883 to 1890. And he batted over 300 for 8 straight years. But it doesn't qualify, right? You got to have someone 15 to 20, 25 years, right? 300 all those years. Couldn't find anybody with multiple years over 300. But Dave Orr, I did find on his resume 300 or better every year he played, but it's only 8 years. What do you think about it? Dave Orr, 1883, 302, 1884, 354, 1885, 342, 1886, 338, 1887, 368, 1888, 305, 1889, 327, and 1890, 371. 8 years in a row, over 300, but he stopped playing at age 30. Could he have gone his entire career batting over 300? His lifetime batting average 342, Dave Orr. But it's not enough years. So far, the guy with the most years in a row, 300 or better, Ty Cobb, 23 years. Now, there's a guy, his name is Camp Hansen. What did he bat? I've got him here. Okay, here's Camp Hansen. He played 27 years. And you know how many 300 seasons he had? One. Let's see. Camp Hansen, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. He had 20 seasons in a row, 300. Then in 1891, he batted 291. He blew it. And then the next year, he batted 272. But then he went 314, 388, 335, 331. So he has 24 seasons, 300 or better. But he didn't do it in a row. He had 20 in a row. Two below it. Then he went 4 more in a row. And then his last season, 285. So he had 24 out of 27 seasons batting over 300. How about that, Cap Hansen? Another guy who came close, Tony Gwynn. Remember him? First year, 289. Then he went 19 years in a row over 300. Tony Gwynn. Another guy who's close as far as having a perfect 300 or better every year they played. The other guy I found out was Ted Williams. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. He had 17 in a row, 300 or better. But you know what happened? 1959, he played 103 games and batted 254. Teddy! Then he went 316. He had 1 year, 254. Ted Williams, Splendid Splinter. Teddy ball game, blew it. He could have had a perfect resume. The other guy I was thinking about was Roger Hornsby, because he has a 358 career batting average, right? But his first season was 246. Then he went on a real long string, and then for some reason, well, he only got into 19 games in 1932. He was 224. Then he had a 208 season because he didn't play much, 10 games. So you see, he's playing for the season, but doesn't have 300 for the season, no matter how many games it is. So he doesn't have it. There's another guy called Al Simmons. Al Simmons. he had a 20-year career. He had about 16, 17, 300 seasons, but he had a couple of 200s, 260. So he doesn't do it. The other guy I was thinking about, Joe Jackson, remember him? Shoeless Joe. He had a 356 career, but his first, he had he's a strange character, Joe Jackson, because, let's see, yeah, he had a lot of 300 batting, and he had a 400 season. But his first 2 years, only got 5 games, batted 130 and 176. I can't give it to him. But from 1910 through 1920, he had 300 or better, like 11 seasons in a row. But his first 2 seasons didn't do it. So you can't count Joe Jackson. The other guy you may think of is Lou Gehrig. How did he do? He had a 295 in 1938, and then his last season he batted 143. He had a good string going, like 15 in a row, and then faltered toward the end. The other guy, you may ask, Babe Ruth, did he do it? Well, the Babe had a 272 average when he was pitching. And he also, toward the end of his career, had a 288, so he doesn't do it. The other guy, maybe, Ed Delonte? Remember him? 15 years. He started off slow, 228, 293, but then he went on a real good tear, had 400 seasons, and then had 300 the rest of the way. So he doesn't do it. Ed Delonte, let's see. Tris Speaker, did he do it? He started off slow, 224, and then he had a 296, so he doesn't do it. Billy Hamilton? I'm talking about these guys that are really up there in career batting average. Now, he had 2 seasons below. You can think of, let's see, Dan Brothers. This guy was an interesting guy. Dan Brothers, he was way back. Did he do it? Nope. Started off slow. He had a lot of 300s, but he had a 260 in there. Bill Terry, no. George Sisler. He had a good string, but he had a 290. He had a 285. He was close. So, what's my point here? Which ball players had 300 their entire career? Or the most 300 for their entire career? You got to put Ted Williams, Camp Hansen, Ted Williams. You got to put Ty Cobb, Ted Williams, Camp Hansen, and Tony Gwynn. These are the guys, just 300 every year except 1 or 2. Camp Hansen, it was like 3 times, but he had a 27-year career. But he had 24 300 seasons. Tony Gwynn, 19 out of 20. Ted Williams had a 20-year career or whatever, but he missed a couple of them there with the military and all that, but he had 1 or 2. And then Ty Cobb, just 1. His first year, 238, and then he went 300 for 23 consecutive years. He holds the record consecutively. Camp Hansen had 20. Tony Gwynn had 19, and Ted Williams, I think it was 17 or so. What do you think of that? So here we got a guy named Ty Cobb. First batting title, his second 300 batting season. Okay, next video. 1908 season. What does this guy do for his career? It's going to be amazing to look at his box scores. Next video, 19.